Hey everyone, this is Mr. Everything, and in this video I wanted to do a 2025 update for the MacBook Pro M1, so the first iteration of the MacBook Pro with the newer, you can tell by the notch, the newer screen, the newer design language. I believe the Airs have now adopted as well. I figured I'm working on some videos, so the first thing I'll do is just hit render, and let's see how quickly. Now this is a 1080p 60 frames video. It's how I pretty much do all of my videos. Let me know if my export settings are wrong and I'm a complete idiot and don't know what I'm doing. Please let me know. But for my humble setup, it seems to work the best. So I decided that I would just start with this. This is probably about the only realistic benchmark that I can offer anyone interested. I just use it basically for web browsing and for video editing. I have Affinity Photo. That's the older version, which I guess isn't even supported anymore. I'm not going to pay for the new. I don't do that much photo. It basically is just for thumbnails. So video editing is probably the most common ground in terms of a benchmark. So I don't think this is really groundbreaking here. But I've never had any issues with video editing. The export times, I mean, they're not blazing fast, like so fast if you made a large video that it would just be done and over with. I mean, there is a little bit of a waiting period, but it's very fast compared to any other device I've had. And I just prefer to use DaVinci Resolve. I'm not an expert on it by any means, but it's a steep learning curve, so the little bit I know I'm getting pretty good at, so it's just my preferred way of going about it. And if I'm using it on my lap, it does get quite warm during video export. That's pretty much the only time it does get warm under basic browsing and other use. It's fairly unnoticeable. Okay, so there's the finished product. I'll probably cut some of this out. But right under 3 minutes for export of about a 14-minute video. So the experts that know everything about that would probably be able to judge how good that is compared to the newest series of M processors. Now, for me, I bought this, I believe it was in February of 2022. So in my mind, I always think of it as a 2022 model, but I believe it came out in 2021, as shown here in the About section. It is the M1 Pro. I was dead set on getting, at that time, the M1 Air, just because everyone said, it's a phenomenal deal. It's in the cheaper and lightweight Air package, but you get excellent performance. And then right about then, the Pro came out, and it was actually, quite frankly, out of my budget. But I just decided, I've never really had a good, powerful computer. I've never had a MacBook before. I had a Mac Mini, and I really started to like that. And I pulled the trigger, and yes, it was a big investment, but my goodness, it's paid for itself in spades. Every video I've made since then has been edited on this. Even the new M4 iPad Pro, though the screen is phenomenal, I still use this. It's the productivity powerhouse with that M1 Pro. It's not the Max or anything. I believe there's the Ultra that's in the studio, but the only thing that maybe will date it a little bit is the 16 gigabytes of memory. Now, I'm no expert. If I have Safari open with like 10 tabs, which I always do, if I'm doing maybe DaVinci on top of it or have another program open, I'm not sure if maybe a little more RAM would help, but I don't really notice lag. I don't have issues with a bunch of open tabs or anything. This is the XDR display. I believe it's mini LED, so it does have HDR, which I honestly almost never use it for any HDR content, and I don't watch any Apple TV stuff on it. I use my OLED TV for that, but I suppose I would have a fairly good experience with it. I mean, the display itself is very nice, and the storage, I would say it's middle of the road. It's always better to have more, but I'm not close to maxing it out, and most of like videos and things, I just move them off to a hard drive. Now, the other thing that probably would be quite interesting is the battery health. What you can see here is that 88% which is very good. However, to me, literally within the last few weeks, it just went down from, I think it was 90 or 91. And it was on 90 or 91 for over a year. It never moved. I had it for about a year, and then it went down at least 5% just one day. And then within a month, it went down another 5%, and it was, again, that 90 or 91, whatever it was. And I thought, wow, I'm going to lose, if I'm losing at 5% here and there. But then for, like I said, over a year, it did not move. And then just most recently, it went down 2 more percentage points. I think I like to use the usage. Okay, so it, depending on how accurate this widget is, it's saying I'm at 403 cycles. So, and I feel like I charge it if I use it all day or something, if I'm making videos or something, it would get charged every day. If I'm just using it here and there for some browsing, it's pretty much always every other day. And I don't always charge from the bare minimum, so I guess that would factor into being about 400 cycles. So certainly not bad. The battery life is not as good as it used to be, but I can still get through, again, easily a whole day unless I'm doing editing. I guess I'll just try this here. This is my go-to for HDR. Now, obviously, it's not going to translate very well on the camera, but it is a good-looking screen. Obviously, the perfect blacks are really nice. And toward the end here, I'll talk about when I think I want to upgrade and to what. But I will say that for me, it would be that beautiful tandem OLED that's in the newest iPad Pros. If the next, or whatever the next MacBook Pro that has that, that'll be the one I'll get, whether it's the coming year or a few out still. That would take this to the next level. Now, as far as damage or wear and tear on the device, really the extent of it is just simply on this keyboard here. Some of these keycaps show some staining. It's not bad. Obviously, like every well-used keyboard does look like that. I do wipe it off from time to time, but you don't want to get too much alcohol or anything on it since it's, a laptop, it's all connected. I wouldn't want to short anything out. So usually I just get a lens wipe or something that just is lightly saturated to wipe it. The one minor annoyance I would say is, for whatever reason, I always get little debris on the screen itself after you close it. I always blow this out and again keep it fairly clean, but I always just get little specks of dust, which on a white web page or something stick out horrible. So I like using this Spigen brush, and if I'm not actually getting my alcohol or screen wipes out, I'll use this. It'll take off little smudges and stuff. This is very overpriced, but it is the most useful and nice and soft that I can. Well, I use it on the screen, but then I can get any extra dust or something if I don't want to break out an air duster. That's one of the advantages of the MacBook compared to the iPad Pro with the Magic Keyboard, is this is all one-handed operation. With that, the lip, and then it's the proper weight and balancing and the hinge and everything. But you can see here, I have a few little nicks and scratches in it, which you can't really tell. But beyond that, it's in really good shape. All the ports are still pristine. The addition of the modern MagSafe is perfect. That's how I charge it. I mean, every now and then, if I have just a Type-C cable already out, I might charge it that way. But for all intents and purposes, I use the MagSafe. And I'm still using the original charger and MagSafe cable. The quality, it's held up perfectly fine, no fraying or anything. And it's the 65-watt charger. That's fine with me. I have no issues with it. It does take, I'm sure, a little bit longer than the better ones, but even if you're pretty low, within, I would say, less than 2 hours, it's a full charge. Honestly, beyond that, I don't think there's too much else to talk about for my use of it. It might be a little bit more than what someone like me would need, but that's why several years later now, it still is doing the job just fine. The battery life's still enough that I don't complain. As far as slowdowns, a lot of times with a Windows tablet or my 2012 Mac Mini, which is almost unusable now, you start to say, oh, I think I need to get something else with this. I mean, all the new M series chips, I still just don't think it's like, I still feel like it's just as fast as it was when I first got it. I am on the newest Mac OS, and though there's not that many changes, I don't notice any slowdowns either, so I don't think I'm going to have issues for a few more years. I am pretty happy with the M4, especially what people are saying with the M4 Mac Mini. I don't think I will go for an M4 MacBook Pro, but again, if they would offer it in an OLED screen, maybe. Just because it would be, if you're going to get a new one, it probably would be, that would be the iteration to get the upgrade on. But beyond that, I can still use this for a few more years, and I don't think I'll have a complaint at all. And the price, I don't know what they're going for used right now, but I would absolutely recommend one if you can get a deal on one. Otherwise, if you want to get the current newest one from Apple, you won't have any issue. At this point, I'd probably go for the 24 gigabyte on the memory, but beyond that, you won't be disappointed at all because this 16 gigabyte M1 Pro still is getting the job done just fine. So anything newer than that, you'll have no issues at all. So for me, I would chalk this up to money well spent. I've been using it for years as a daily driver. It basically replaced my iPad Pro, and I know I can still get several years out of it with no issue. Compared to my Windows experience, I've never had anything come this close. And for that, for those reasons, I would absolutely recommend it, regardless of price. Thanks for watching, and you'll see me in the next one. Have a good one.